đầu tiên là khi mà khoan trực tiếp vào vô trong răng thì sau đó nó chỉ cắt trong răng thì cái mũi khoan nó có làm rung ảnh hưởng tới độ vững ổn của phía trong răng bên ngoài hay không? Thì những câu trả lời của thầy thì khi mà thầy trả lời thì em sẽ vẫn tiếp tục dịch song hành, cho nên là các bác có thể mang tai nghe để mà nghe thầy trả lời. So the first question regarding the socket shield technique. When you use the burr to drill through the root, and then you divide, and then you remove the palatal root membrane, will it touch the buccal root membrane, and will it negatively impact the stability of the root membrane in the buccal side?
Okay, it's a very, very good question, and I forget to be clear about this topic. One of the conditions of the success of the socket shield technique is the stability of the shield. That means that if you lose, for instance, your tooth for a parental reason, or if you have a big mobility with an increased PDR, it's a contraindication. You can't do it. You can't do the socket shield technique because the shield will be too mobile, and you will have failure, and it will transfer in the cervical position, and we lose it. So that's a good question. You have, when you do the socket shield, you need to have a very good stability of the buccal shield. That means that when you remove the palatal part of the root, you need to be careful not to push in the buccal side, not to try to make compression at it. That's the first thing. And the second, if you have a very good stability, you can let it. Now, what can happen when you cut your shield? In the technique, you use a round burr on a handpiece, and you can let at the apical part of the shield a little more width. So, in the apex of the implant, you can, with the spire, get a stability of the shield with the spire of the implant at the end of the placement. It's a little difficult to do. It's experience, but that's one option to get the stability. So yes, it's a very good question. Thank you for the question. Okay. Second question.
Second question is, what is your recommendation about the thickness of the buccal root membrane and the position of the implant in relation to that shield and the available bone? Is we place it at the level of the shield or deeper than the shield?
Okay, very good question too. Yes, very good question. When you have removed the palatal part, with a round burr, you decrease the width of the shield. The width of the shield must be about 0.7 millimeters. Less than 1 millimeter, more than 0.5, that's between. That's the first thing. In the vertical position, the top of the shield, you use your round burr. It takes a little time. Can I use the paperboard? Can I have a pen, please? I will try to do. It's better to explain. I just need a pen.
Let's wait a minute. We will take the pen for you.
Okay. So, during the pen, I will try to explain with my hands. With a round burr, you remove of the shield about 1 to 1.5 millimeter below the top level of the gingiva in the buccal part. We try to draw. That's the socket. That's the shield. Yeah. This part, from here to here, is from 1 to 1.5 millimeter. Okay? That's the first thing. Okay? The width here is about 0.7 millimeter. Okay. By doing that with your round burr, if I draw it, if I draw it bigger, that's my shield, that's my round burr. I remove like that. Here we have a shield, and at the end, when you have like that, you crack it to avoid with your burr the gingiva. Okay? You crack this part and you remove it with the periodontal. That's one thing. Now the implant placement. Implant placement is, as I explained you in the first presentation this morning, the third landmark. Implant placement is, I would say, here until the top, between 2.5 to 3 millimeters. So the implant is a little below the top of the shield. About 0.5 millimeter below the top of the shield. Did I answer the question? Okay, very good question. Very good.
First question is complication and how you manage the complication when we do the immediate placement.
Okay. Complications are, I wanted to speak about it this afternoon, but we can already speak. Complication of immediate placement is when we lose the implant. We lose integration. It can happen as it happens with a normal placement implant. So if it happens, you have to remove it. The quicker, the faster you can do it, not to lose too much bone. You clean the granulation tissue. And you have two options at this moment. I had both possibilities. You put another implant because you just had a problem on the apex of the implant or on the buccal side. So you try to put another implant, a bigger one in diameter. It's not the best option and it's very rare. So in such a case, most of the case, I put biomaterial, I put partial remote prosthesis, and we wait healing time. Then 4 months later, we evaluate the bone volume, and most often of the case, we use, of course, the delayed approach, maybe with a membrane. That's one of the options. Second complication is the infection. Infection of the connective tissue graft or of the biomaterial. That complication is easier to manage because the patient tells you, oh, it's swollen, it's painful, so you come, you need to remove the implant. And if you are lucky, you remove the implant, you clean in the buccal part, and if you clean correctly, you can put a new implant, the same reference, and if you get the same coverage, you can use the same temporary crown and put it again with biomaterial and maybe a membrane, or sometimes, as I showed this afternoon, a little cortical plate of bone that you have to harvest. So you can manage it like that, or as I told you just before, you remove, you clean, you wait, and you evaluate again the situation to put a new implant, and you need to have a removable prosthesis. The third complication with the socket shield is the shield is going a little upper. It's moving in this direction. So you have to remove it. It's often that's an answer to the first question. If you didn't get enough primary stability, then you have this problem, and you just have to remove it to clean, and sometimes you let it, or you put a little connective tissue graft, and it's over. You have the solution, and you have the issue to this problem. And the fourth complication with solution technique is what happened to me when you don't remove correctly the palatal part and you let too much width of the shield and the apex. And you can have something like that happened to me. Implant. Okay. You have. I didn't do very well. Okay. That's the implant, sorry. And here you have your shield, and you forgot the apex. You let the apex. And you have here a bone loss. When it happens, it's very easy to find an issue. You make a flap like for an episectomy. You take a little burr, you cut it, you clean this biomaterial, you close your flap, and it's finished. It's not a problem. That's the reason you must be careful not to let the apex, that can be an infection. Be careful to remove all the endodontic material in the root with the burr. That's the most important complication. I will speak about other complications this afternoon, but you don't still have the techniques, see the techniques. We have still other questions?
There's a lot of other questions. So
Okay,
the next question is regarding the pin that we use to stabilize the membrane. Is it okay if we just leave it there and not take it out?
To leave the pins, the question is that?
Yes.
Yes. We have different options. I'm working with titanium pins. It's like an implant. They stay. I generally remove the pins on the top of the crest or on the palatal side, but in the apical part they stay. Not a problem. You can use also resorbable pins, but I don't like them. It's very difficult to use them because you need a burr to put them. Then they break. I don't like them. but you can let it without any try. Don't try to remove them, it's too difficult. Okay.
The next question asks about your indication for three technique in immediate implantation: dual zone, connective tissue graft, and shock shield.
Okay. The indication of the connective tissue graft is to increase the biotype. So if you have a big, and you have seen that we are flapless, if you have a big socket with the diameter of implant, if you have a very big gap, you need to seal it. And to seal it, the best thing over the biomaterial that you use to fill the bioos, you use the connective tissue. That's the first indication. The second indication is when your biotype is a little fine, then you increase the weights with the connective tissue. Then you harvest it from the pilate or from the tuberosity. Now, when you have a very, very good and good fitness with a very good biotype, you not necessarily need to put a connective tissue graft. And maybe just collagen membrane or resorbable just to seal, and it's okay because you have also a seal with the temporary crown, which seal the socket. So that's just an approach. Each case you have to evaluate if you need or not, and it depends. But really, that's the quality of the biotype, the first indication of the connective tissue graft.
Next question regarding the socket shield technique. What is your criteria to keep the buccal shield, and ask about the complication if we got inflammation or failure if the buccal shield is removed?
Today, I say you that my follow-up is not up to date, but just I did more than I just come before because I knew that I would have this question. I more than 350 cases. I have less than 10 failures, maybe not 10. Very, very poor morbidity. I don't know why, but very poor morbidity. I can have an explanation just because we let this part be required by letting the root. And sometimes when you have cases with a root which is difficult to remove, or an ankylosis, I don't think I put the cases. Maybe I have time between midday to show you a case. Then it's better to do the socket shield technique because it's easier to do and you have more good results by doing the socket shield and you remove the whole root. So I cannot expand it. My follow-up is excellent as a result. I never had such a beautiful result. Less than 2% of complications, 2 or 3%. Until yet, okay. I started now it's 6 years ago. 6 years ago. That's my follow-up, no more. This technique was described in 2010 by Marcus Hutzler and Anthogyr. And they have a lot of cases, and they have excellent results. Okay. So that's the reason I trust them, and I did a lot, and I have very good results. Very, very poor morbidity.
Next question regarding the GBR technique. If you use the bovine bone and the collagen membrane resorbable, and with the resorbable time is pretty fast, and does it negatively impact the regeneration of the bone and the meat?
Could you repeat the question? I didn't understand. Versus what? You told me the follow-up with the collagen membrane, or?
Yeah, regarding the GBR technique, we're using the bovine bone with a very slow rate of resorption,
Okay.
and a collagen membrane with a very fast rate of resorption. Will it negatively impact the regeneration of the bone?
Okay, it's a good question. When you do GBR, you must know exactly what you have to augment. When I show you sausage technique, that means that all the cases I showed you will put the implant at the same time when we augment the bone. That means that I'm sure that I will have an osseointegration with the implant in natural bone. So what I want to have is to increase my success rate to have a blood supply when it's a too thin bone. So in such a case, we have the first steps of the revascularization, when the blood supply arrives, are enough to get the future result. And I have to prove that, because at the beginning, I didn't show you that 20 years ago, we used the PTFE membranes, which were not resorbable. And we had a lot of complications with infection, reopening of the flap, and we had to remove at this time the membrane to avoid an infection. And sometimes, that's funny, but 3 weeks after surgery, if you had a reopening, if you were lucky, the patient had cleaned, so you had to remove the membrane. Of course, you didn't have bone, but you had already a kind of moving bone. And you put a flap again, you close the flap, and you got, with the months, good bone. So you had the barrier for 3 weeks, and you had bone. With the collagen membrane, you have the resorption in about 3 months. It's enough. It's enough in the case I showed you. Now, when you need to augment in high the bone, it was not the topic today. I had no time to speak about it. But when you have to augment, it's another problem. You need reinforced titanium membrane with PTFE, and you need at this time bovine bone and autogenous bone mixed. And over the reinforced membrane, it's the urban technique, it's very well known. And over this membrane, you can put a bioguide. So it's another problem, and here you need a long time membrane to get enough bone during the healing time. It's another problem. But with the case of the sausage technique, the classical collagen membrane, the bioguide from guide species, it's enough. You take the comfort, which is a little more wide, and you have a very, very good result.
Last question for this morning is the rib membrane on the buccal side, will it resorb over time?
Could you repeat, please? Sorry.
The socket shield on the buccal side, will it resorb over time?
The membrane?
No, the socket shield.
The resorption?
Yeah. Will it resorb over time?
No. The studies of Anthogyr show that the root shield maintain over the time, over the years, because you have a blood supply with the PDL, the part of the root and the ball. So you don't have any resorption. Maybe you have little points of resorption in the root, but very, very little. It's not a consequence. Because if it happens, you have with the blood supply ball which is coming. So you don't have resorption. No. That's a very good technique. No resorption.
So that's all the questions for this morning. Thank you.
Oh, okay. To have
Dạ, nếu như mà có bác sĩ nào muốn đặt câu hỏi tại hội trường thì em sẽ hỗ trợ cho thầy.
Cảm ơn.
Dạ, không biết là có quý bác sĩ nào muốn đặt câu hỏi trực tiếp dành cho thầy không ạ? Thì chúng ta có thể giơ tay lên ạ. Tại vì thời gian thì cũng không còn nhiều nên là quý bác sĩ nào chúng ta còn câu hỏi thắc mắc thì có thể là giơ tay lên để ban tổ chức có thể kết nối ạ. Dạ. Dạ xin.
Hỏi là cái bộ bản phần lúc mình đập nào để cái chỗ ghép xương thì là phần bên cạnh là bản phần chưa hiểu gì đó.
His question is about where you design the flap. Some part you leave a partial flap.
Yeah.
And the side where you're going to do the ball grab, you leave a full flap. So he asked about how exactly can you design a full flap when all the flap were doing partial.
Oh, it's so easy. You split, you split all and you have partial flap in all the areas. Okay? Only partial flaps for all the areas. And then the area where we want to augment, you take your blade and you cut the periosteum like that. Oh, I will do. Okay, so show.
Pushing là the limit, đại diện pushing the limit tức là có nghĩa là cái giới hạn, tức là limit là kiểm cái gì giống đại loại là giống như kiểm soát cái giới hạn. Pushing là push là đẩy.
All this area is
giới hạn.
partial flap everywhere. Partial flap. When it's done, you take your blade, cut here, you cut here, you cut here, and you scrap, and you remove, and you have a full fitness. So easy. You start with by splitting. You split everywhere. When it's done, then you expose the area you need to augment.
Dạ, xin được cảm ơn ạ. Và không biết là còn câu hỏi nào nữa không ạ? Không biết là quý bác sĩ chúng ta còn câu hỏi và thắc mắc nào nữa không ạ? Dạ, nếu như mà đã hết câu hỏi cho phiên buổi sáng ngày hôm nay